My beloved child, before this moment passes, I need you to imagine something. A door. Not just any door. A door you have never walked through, yet somehow it feels familiar. A place you have never called home, yet your heart pauses when you think about it. Today's message is about that feeling. Because there is a picture forming in your life right now, and it carries a meaning you may not have noticed before. Don't skip this moment. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, not a promise, not a prediction, but a realization that could change the way you see your future. Somewhere, there is a person whose presence is quietly influencing your path. You may know them already. You may have crossed paths briefly. Or perhaps their story has not fully entered yours yet. What makes this so fascinating is not the person themselves. It is the space around them. The atmosphere they create. The warmth they bring. The feeling of belonging that seems to follow wherever they go. Close your eyes for a second and picture a home filled with light. A window open to fresh air. A chair waiting for conversation. A room where silence feels peaceful instead of lonely. Can you see it? That image is important. Because sometimes life shows us a destination long before we understand the journey. And the picture appearing in your mind right now may reveal more than you think. There is a reason certain places feel strangely familiar. There is a reason certain dreams return again and again. There is a reason your heart keeps searching for a sense of home that cannot be measured by walls or addresses. What if that feeling is leading you somewhere? What if the next chapter of your life is connected to a person whose world already has a place waiting for your energy, your laughter, and your story? Not because fate demands it. Not because anything is guaranteed. But because meaningful connections often begin long before we recognize them. The most surprising part? The picture becomes clearer from here. And in the next moment, you will begin to understand why this person's home feels connected to your future in a way you never expected. There is something remarkable about the images we carry inside ourselves. Some pictures arrive suddenly. Others build quietly over time, piece by piece, until one day they feel impossible to ignore. The vision of this home is becoming sharper now. Notice what stands out. It may not be the size of the house. It may not be the location. Instead, it is the feeling. The feeling of being welcomed. The feeling of finally exhaling after carrying so much for so long. The feeling of knowing you do not have to pretend to be anyone else. That is why this message matters. Because the person connected to this place is not drawing your attention through grand gestures. Their influence is subtle. Their presence feels natural. Almost as if a missing piece of a puzzle has quietly appeared on the table. Stay with me. The next detail is important. Imagine walking through that doorway for the first time. You notice familiar colors. Comforting sounds. Small details that make no sense and yet somehow feel known. Many people experience moments like this in life. A strange sense of recognition. A feeling that they have arrived somewhere meaningful. Not because the place is perfect. But because the connection is real. And this is where the picture becomes even more interesting. The home itself is only a symbol. What truly matters is the person behind the door. Someone whose values, dreams, and energy may align with yours more than you realize. Someone whose journey has been unfolding at the same time as yours, even if your paths have not fully merged yet. The extraordinary part? There is one specific detail about this person that changes everything. A detail hidden in plain sight. A detail that explains why this image keeps returning. And once you see it, the entire picture begins to make sense. A quiet clue has been sitting in front of you this entire time. Most people would overlook it. They would focus on the house, the rooms, the image itself. But the real message has never been about the building. It has always been about the feeling it awakens within you. Think about the moments when you felt truly understood. Not admired. Not noticed. Understood. Those moments are rare. And yet, they leave a lasting mark on the heart. The person connected to this vision carries that same energy. They are not trying to impress the world every second of the day. Instead, they create something far more valuable. Comfort. Trust. A sense that life does not have to be rushed. And that is why the picture keeps returning. Because your mind recognizes details. But your heart recognizes alignment. Don't skip ahead. The next revelation ties everything together. Imagine standing outside that home once more. This time, look beyond the walls. Look beyond the windows. What do you notice? A feeling of growth. A feeling of possibility. A feeling that the future is larger than you once believed. That is the hidden detail. This person's world is expanding. They are learning. Changing. Becoming more of who they were always meant to be. And in many ways, you are doing the same. Two separate stories. Two separate journeys. Yet somehow moving toward a similar destination. The picture appears because it represents more than a place. It represents a chapter. A chapter where old doubts begin to fade and new opportunities begin to appear. A chapter where meaningful conversations replace uncertainty. A chapter where connection feels natural rather than forced. Something huge is waiting for you in this story. Not an ending. A beginning. And the most surprising part is still hidden. Because there is one object inside this imagined home that reveals why this connection feels so significant. Once that object comes into focus, everything changes. Look closer now, because the picture is revealing something new. Not a grand staircase. Not a luxurious room. Not anything designed to impress. Instead, your attention is drawn to a simple object. A table. At first, it seems ordinary. But the longer you look, the more meaningful it becomes. Because tables are where stories are shared. Where laughter lingers after conversations should have ended. Where dreams are spoken aloud for the first time. Where people stop being strangers and start becoming part of each other's lives. This is why the image feels so powerful. The house was never asking you to focus on its appearance. It was inviting you to notice the life unfolding inside it. Stay till the end. The next piece may explain a feeling you've carried for longer than you realize. Imagine sitting at that table. The room is calm. There is no need to rush. No need to prove anything. Just a sense of ease. A sense that you belong exactly where you are in that moment. That feeling is rare. Many search for it in achievements. Many search for it in possessions. Yet it often arrives through connection. Through people who make ordinary moments feel unforgettable. And the person connected to this vision seems to understand that truth. They value presence. They value sincerity. They value the small moments that quietly become the most important memories. That is why this image keeps returning to you. Because somewhere within it is a reminder of what truly matters. Not perfection. Not status. Not appearances, but the feeling of being welcomed into a chapter that feels genuine. And now the picture is beginning to expand. Beyond the table. Beyond the room. Beyond the house itself. Because there is something outside that home, a detail most people would miss, that reveals where this story is heading next. And once you notice it, the entire vision takes on a completely different meaning. Beyond the walls of the house, another detail quietly waits to be noticed. Most people never look this far. They stop at the doorway. They admire the rooms. They focus on what is visible. But the real secret of this picture exists just outside. A path. Simple. Unassuming. Yet deeply important. Because every meaningful destination begins with a path. And this one tells a story. Not about where you have been, but about where you are becoming. Imagine standing there, looking toward the horizon. The air feels calm. The future feels open. And for the first time in a long while, you are not asking, what if things go wrong? You are asking, what beautiful possibility might be waiting ahead? That shift changes everything. Because the person connected to this vision carries that same outlook. They do not see life as a series of closed doors. They see it as a journey filled with unexpected opportunities. Moments of growth. Moments of discovery. Moments that seem ordinary at first, but later become unforgettable. Don't skip this part. What comes next may be the most surprising realization so far. The path outside the house is not leading you toward a destination. It is showing you something far more valuable. It is showing you movement. Progress. Transformation. The version of you who first began this journey is not the same version of you who is listening now. You have learned. You have grown. You have carried lessons that shaped your perspective in ways you may not even recognize yet. And somehow, this person's story reflects that same evolution. Two journeys. Two sets of experiences. Two lives growing in ways that make future possibilities feel larger than before. That is why the image feels alive. It is not frozen in time. It is changing. Expanding. Revealing more with every step. And now one final detail is beginning to emerge from the distance. A detail hidden at the very edge of the picture. A detail that explains why this house feels less like a location, and more like a symbol of a future chapter ready to unfold. At the very edge of the picture, where the horizon meets the light, something finally comes into view. It is not a sign. It is not a destination marked with certainty. It is a sunrise. A quiet beginning. A reminder that every meaningful chapter starts long before anyone realizes how important it will become. This is the detail that changes the entire picture. Because the house was never the message. The person was never the message. The message was the new beginning both of them represent. Think about that for a moment. The image that captured your attention was not asking you to focus on where you might live. It was inviting you to consider how you want to live. With more peace. More connection. More authenticity. More moments that feel genuinely meaningful. That is why this vision has felt so personal. It reflects a desire that exists within many hearts. The desire to find a place where your energy is welcomed. Where your presence matters. Where your story continues to grow instead of standing still. Stay with this feeling. Because the next realization is powerful. Imagine looking at that home one last time. The windows glow softly. The path stretches forward. The table inside waits for new memories. And the sunrise beyond it all reminds you that life is constantly creating opportunities for fresh starts. Suddenly, the picture no longer feels mysterious. It feels familiar. Not because you have seen it before, but because it reflects something your heart has always understood. Home is not created by walls. It is created by connection. It is created by shared moments. It is created by the people who make ordinary days feel extraordinary. And the person connected to this vision may be carrying a lesson that is meant for you right now. The future does not arrive all at once. It arrives one meaningful step at a time. Yet there is still one final piece missing from this picture. One last revelation hidden in plain sight. A revelation that explains why you were drawn to this message in the first place. And when that final piece appears, everything comes together. The final piece has been there from the beginning. Hidden not in the house. Not in the path. Not in the sunrise. But in you. That is the revelation. The picture captured your attention because it reflected something already growing within your own heart. A readiness. A quiet openness to a new chapter. A willingness to step beyond old expectations and see life through a different lens. For a moment, think back to the person you were a year ago. Think about the lessons you've gathered. The conversations that changed you. The moments that taught you patience. The experiences that helped you understand what truly matters. None of that was accidental. Every step added another brushstroke to the picture now unfolding before you. And suddenly, the image makes more sense. The house represents belonging. The table represents connection. The path represents growth. The sunrise represents possibility. But you are the one who gives the picture meaning. Without your journey, it would simply be an image. With your journey, it becomes a reflection. Don't skip this moment. Because something huge is waiting for you, not in the form of certainty, but in the form of clarity. The clarity to recognize opportunities when they appear. The clarity to appreciate meaningful people when they enter your life. The clarity to understand that some of the most important chapters begin quietly. Without announcements. Without fanfare. Without anyone realizing how significant they will become. And this is why the picture feels so alive. It is not showing you a final destination. It is showing you a doorway into possibility. A reminder that the future is still being written. A reminder that meaningful connections often arrive when they are least expected. A reminder that the next chapter may hold more warmth, purpose, and joy than you currently imagine. Yet one final moment remains. One last glimpse behind the picture before it fades from view. And in that final glimpse lies the message that ties every piece together. Before the picture fades, take one last look. Not with your eyes. With your imagination. Notice how everything in the image now feels connected. The house. The table. The path. The sunrise. None of them stand alone anymore. They form a story. A story about belonging. A story about growth. A story about discovering that the most meaningful places in life are often created through relationships, memories, and shared experiences. This is the glimpse that few people notice. The picture is not asking you to chase something. It is asking you to recognize something. The possibility that your future may hold connections far more meaningful than you can currently see. The possibility that the people entering your life are not random characters passing through your story. Some may become trusted companions. Some may become sources of encouragement. Some may help you see strengths within yourself that you never fully recognized. And that changes everything. Because once you understand this, the image no longer feels distant. It feels close. As though it has been waiting patiently for you to understand its message. Stay till the end. This final stretch is where everything begins to shine. Imagine standing outside that house one last time. The light is warmer now. The air feels lighter. The horizon seems wider than before. And instead of wondering whether you belong there, you find yourself asking a different question. What kind of memories would I create in a place filled with connection, growth, and possibility? That question matters. Because the answer reveals who you are becoming. Someone who values authenticity. Someone who values meaningful relationships. Someone who understands that the greatest chapters are not measured by what you own, but by what you experience and share. The picture is almost gone now. But one final message remains. A message hidden in every detail you've seen. A message that brings the entire journey together in a way you may never forget. As the picture begins to disappear, the message becomes clearer than ever. It was never trying to show you a specific address. It was never trying to reveal a specific person. It was trying to reveal a feeling. A feeling that many spend years searching for. The feeling of arriving at a chapter that feels right. Not perfect. Not effortless. Simply right. Look back at everything you have seen. The welcoming doorway. The peaceful table. The winding path. The golden sunrise. Each piece carried a lesson. Each piece pointed toward the same truth. Life becomes most meaningful when it is built on connection, purpose, and presence. That is the hidden treasure inside this picture. And perhaps that is why you were meant to see it today. Because somewhere deep within, you already know that your story is still unfolding. There are conversations you have not had yet. Friendships you have not formed yet. Experiences you have not discovered yet. Moments of laughter, understanding, and growth still waiting beyond the horizon. Don't rush past that thought. Let it settle. Because something huge is waiting for you. Not because the future is guaranteed. But because possibility is still alive. Because new chapters are still being written. Because every day carries opportunities that did not exist the day before. The most remarkable part is this. The picture may vanish, but the feeling remains. The feeling that your journey is moving forward. The feeling that meaningful moments are closer than they appear. The feeling that home is not a place you stumble upon. It is something you help create through kindness, trust, and shared experiences. And now, only one final reflection remains. One last message before this story reaches its conclusion. A message that transforms the entire picture into something unforgettable. And now, as the final image fades into the distance, one truth remains shining brighter than everything else. The picture was never about a house. It was about becoming. Becoming the person who recognizes warmth when it appears. Becoming the person who values genuine connection over appearances. Becoming the person who understands that life's greatest gifts often arrive quietly. From the very beginning, you were invited to look at a home. But along the way, you discovered something far more important. You discovered pieces of yourself. The doorway reminded you to stay open to new chapters. The table reminded you to cherish meaningful moments. The path reminded you that growth happens step by step. The sunrise reminded you that every day offers a fresh beginning. And now all those pieces come together. The real picture was never hanging on a wall. It was being painted inside your heart. Every experience, every lesson, every hope, every dream, each one adding color to a future that is still unfolding. If there is one message to carry with you after this moment, let it be this. The places that matter most are not always the ones we see first. The people who impact us most are not always the ones we expect. And the chapters that change our lives often begin as small, ordinary moments that almost go unnoticed. So when new opportunities appear, welcome them. When meaningful people enter your story, appreciate them. When life opens a door to growth, walk forward with confidence. Because the future is not a picture that has already been completed. It is a masterpiece still being created. And perhaps that is why you were drawn here today. Not to discover where you will live. Not to discover who you will meet. But to remember something beautiful. You are still becoming. Your story is still unfolding. Your next chapter is still waiting to be written. And somewhere beyond today's horizon, possibilities are quietly preparing to meet the person you are becoming. The picture may be gone. But the message remains. The best parts of your story may still be ahead.